This is Nasal. It's one of my clients. He's progressed quite well in his strength. He works in an office. He sits down quite a bit at work, and we're able to manage his depth and get him breaking parallel through a few different tactics. So let's do a squat first, Nasal. Now he is cold. He's done a little bit of walking around, warming up, but nothing too much. Let's jump under and just perform a squat. Don't force depth or anything. Just squat down until where you feel is comfortable before coming back up again. Now there is no no weight on the bar, but you can see here as he comes down, go down again. The hips sort of stop and he's having to sort of flex at the back before getting any lower through the squat. Now, provided there is no weight on the bar, and it is going to go a lot lower as we force a bit more weight on there. So what we're going to do, we're going to load it up, 60 kg, and he does do a 170 kilo squat as a 1RM, for all of you out there who are wondering. It was quite difficult, and his depth was, let's say, at parallel. Working on that, he's got a comp coming up. But first things first, we're going to start loading up the bar. Obviously, if you can't lift 60 kilos, can't lift 80 kilos, then it's going to be a little bit harder. But after this, we're going to show you a few tactics. He's not going to lift above 60 today. We're just going to see what happens when he loads a bit more weight on the bar. Let's go for it, Nasal. So basically, for those of you who are thinking, I can't squat lower, I'm not just saying put more weight on, but I'm saying the bar might be hard. Okay, it's a little bit better, so that weight's now forcing his muscles to stretch. Go 4 reps. 2, not too bad. He's about at parallel now, again. 3, last one. Keep setting those shoulders, sinking it in, and drive it up. Okay, last one was probably the one that was just below parallel. But now we're going to go through a few drills that should help with Nasal's depth. So, number one being the actual movement pattern itself. You'll find a lot of people, if you can just bear with me, Nasal, when they assume a squat position, so squat with wide legs like normal, and then hinge over aggressively. So you can see here how the hip has actually reached its end range of motion. It's going to be quite hard to hit depth. Now go really upright and squat. Now for Nasal especially, he's got very tight calves. Go very upright and squat. Now all of a sudden those calves can't stretch any further forward. So he's forced to drive back up again. Otherwise he risks toppling forward. So what we've actually done with Nasal, and for a lot of people that have tight calves and also tight hips, is torque the feet out quite a bit and have those knees track with the toes. So what we've done here is his feet are now pointing out like this, and he's going to allow those knees to track with the toes. So go for another squat, Nasal. So he's able to get somewhat depth, right? So we need a bit of weight now to push him down, and that's what the 60 kilos is for. But it's a lot more comfortable for him to hit depth and also keep balance, because we are trying to keep that bar completely over midfoot. If it comes in front of or behind midfoot, generally people are just going to stop and drive back up because they just don't want to fall over. So come back up, Nasal. Now what we're going to do, speaking of midfoot, we're going to go through one exercise that should help minimize that balance issue. It's called a pin squat. So we're going to put this one up at 13, 12. Purpose of the pin squat is obviously, a lot of people say like, oh, it helps with your speed out of the hole. You got to think, okay, why does that happen? One, you're focusing on maintaining that tension out of the hole or out of the squat, because if you don't, then it's going to be quite a lot harder to get the bar speed going. And also two, it helps you recognize whether you're forward or behind midfoot, because if you're well forward of midfoot, just move out of the way for a second, Sal. If you're well forward of midfoot, when you're stopped on these rails and you go to drive up, you'll find the bar wants to travel forward. Your hips will shoot back to compensate, and same thing but the other way around if the bar is too far back. So let's unrack Nasal and go for it. Stepping back, so same thing as normal. Deep breath in, set those shoulders, sink it in, drive it up. So obviously These are a little bit above parallel, but it still serves the same purpose. You want to start at a higher point, then work your way down. Let's go 2 more. Drive it up. 2. Yep, so you're able to gauge where that bar is over midfoot once it stops there. 3. Now hinge too far forward, so have the bar come forward to midfoot and stop on the rails. Then try and drive up. See, then he has to compensate by having the hips come back quite a bit far away. It also puts a lot of pressure on the lower back and it just feels a lot heavier. Go 1 more, sinking straight down. So the purpose is to sink straight down in the pin squat, then drive back up again. Much cleaner. Re-rack. Now what we're going to do, good job, we're going to actually move these pins 1 lower. Especially someone who's having issues with depth and it's a comfortability thing, then having these pins here is also going to help them feel a lot more comfortable at the bottom of the squat. So even for Nassar, he can squat below parallel now, but this I think is going to be a little bit of a struggle. Let's go, Nassar. Yep, steady step back. Find that midfoot position. We want to sink down to the rails. Sink all the way down with the knees wide, then up. 1. There we go. Again, set the shoulders, sink it down. Drive it up. 2. So we've got to get those knees out a bit wider, still hinging over at the bottom. Up, steady to the racks. 3, so you don't want to bounce around too much. Hold a nice neutral position here at the same time. Then drive up. Then we'll go 1 more. Keep those shoulders set. This is looking a lot better now. The knees are wide. He's warm. Up. And also, rack. Mentally he's in a much better space to go and perform a below parallel squat. He's hit the rails a few times. He's hit left once. He's hit right. He's centered. And then over the course of a whole training block, you get quite good at these. And you learn to keep tight in the bottom position because it's a lot easier then to drive out of the hole. And also, you get to know where that midfoot is, because if you stop on the rails in front of midfoot, it's going to feel awkward and your body's just going to auto adjust on the next rep to get you over midfoot. So I find the pin squat is a great exercise for getting lower in the squat. It also teaches you more than just getting depth. It teaches you keeping that bar over midfoot. It teaches you whether you're rocking on one side or the other more, and that's about it. So give it a go if you're struggling with depth, or if you're struggling with that bottom position of the squat and you're really just trying to work on that efficiency. So thank you very much.